Hello everybody, how you doing? I've been looking forward to making this video for a little while. I finally want to sit down and actually talk about the lathe. Something I have been wanting to buy for the longest time. It's well overdue, let's put it that way. So yeah, several years ago I mentioned in a couple of videos that I was looking at buying a lathe. Now, for anybody who doesn't actually know what a lathe is, basically it's a big mechanical tool that is used for spinning wood. You can use it to help you carve like bowls or pens or walking sticks or anything like that. All sorts of little things. You'll get really creative with it and make all sorts of random beautiful little things. But in my situation, it's something I will be using to finally make my own earrings, which is something I have been wanting to do for a long time. So what's driven me to actually finally purchasing one is a couple of things really. First of all, the actual size of my ears makes it awkward to try and find anywhere that actually sells them. Like, there aren't too many places that sell jewellery over the 2-inch mark, but once you get up to sort of the 3-inch plus area, it's almost impossible to find a lot of good jewellery. And it goes one of two ways. Either it's very expensive, or it's very low quality. Like something I've mentioned before with these guys, they're just Saba wood. They're pretty cheap, to be honest. What they are, I mean, it's just a simple blank, really. There's nothing fancy going on with it whatsoever. But yeah, they are pretty poor quality. Sometimes when I've ordered these guys, the wearable area is way too thin. Other times, this is a good example actually, it's actually not even round, it's slightly oval. So to say quality isn't exactly up to scratch, what I would personally like, is a bit of an understatement to say. And it's not even just the occasional thing, it's just probably 2 out of 3 orders recently of these larger ones, there's been some sort of issue with them. And I guess in the grand scheme of things, you get what you pay for, don't you? So yeah, Millie's having a little nap, she's all upside down with her legs up in the air. But yeah, so yeah, you get what you pay for basically, which is fair enough. But like I said, the other side of that is paying a lot of money for jewellery that I might be wearing 2-3 months, and that's just not realistic. It would could become very expensive very quickly. So my main motivation behind actually buying a lathe was so that now I can make my own. I effectively have unlimited access to jewellery as big as I want at a relatively low price. So for example, I've already ordered some wood. I've ordered a piece of pink ivory wood, which is probably my favourite wood to wear as earrings. And yeah, to get a piece custom made, I've seen them over £100 a pair. I had a pair of, what were they? I think they were ebony tunnels made, long time ago. And I think it was somewhere around the 90mm mark, and just that pair alone cost me over £100, which is it's no small investment for me. So on the flip side of that, now I can order bits of wood myself. I can order the blanks and I can get pieces of wood for 30-40 quid, and that obviously it'll be a little bit of more effort because obviously I'll have to make the jewellery myself and whatnot, but that is a hell of a saving. Now granted, obviously the lathe itself was a bit of an investment. It wasn't cheap, but it also wasn't expensive. The one I've bought is quite simply a beginner wood turning lathe, nothing fancy, and it's really all I need. I mean, all I'm going to be making really is just flat round things. You can't really get much easier than that. So yeah, I've just gone with the absolute most basic lathe I could get hold of, and yeah, I've bought, as well as that, I've bought there's a couple of little things just to make life a bit easier. Because how a lathe normally works, just the lathe on its own, it's got bits at each end where basically you kind of sandwich the wood between almost, and it spins. But I've ordered another little attachment called a chuck, which is basically like a round thing that would just go on one end with like, not claws or teeth, I suppose you'd call them, so to actually, that can be closed around the wood and actually hold it in place. That would make it far simpler, because obviously it wouldn't need to be constantly squeezed between the two ends. So I've had to wait a little while for that. The actual lathe came really quickly. I was told it would be 2 or 3 weeks, but that's turned up already. That turned up within a few days, which is nice. That was a nice little surprise. The chuck itself is coming from America. Again, I haven't gone with a big fancy one or anything. The one I picked up is actually quite large. It's probably a lot larger than I need, but I figure hopefully I'm going to be using this for quite some time to make bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger earrings, so why not just get something large to begin with, rather than getting to a point further down the line where I then have to spend more money on another one. So that's coming from America, so that will be a little bit longer before it actually gets here. And yeah, I'm quite excited about that. I'm trying to decide exactly what to do. Either when everything turns up, I might do a little unboxing style video or something. I don't know, I'm 50-50 on that. But I'll do some sort of little video just to show off the actual lathe itself and some of the bits and bobs I've got with it. Just to, yeah, so people can sort of follow along this next little step in my journey. What I'm hoping is this is actually really going to help me continue to progress with, particularly with the ears. I mean, technically speaking, I could use the jewellery for any piercing, nostrils, septum, anything, which in itself is also quite nice, really. It means I'll have to rely on other people making jewellery for me a lot less, obviously. So yeah, overall I'm really excited to actually finally have this little project underway. It's been far too long. I don't even remember exactly when it was that I last spoke about this, but it was quite literally probably 2 or even 3 years ago. So what's taken me so long to actually sort this out, I don't quite know, but I'm just happy it's finally moving. So yeah, really happy with that. So yeah, as far as actually making the jewellery, I've ordered a few bits of wood already. I'm just, initially, because I'm not going to have a clue what I'm doing, I'm just going to order lots and lots of cheap bits of wood just to practice, try different things out, learn things. And yeah, so I've got 4 bits of wood on the way already. 2 of them are a zebrano wood, which is sort of, it's quite a light colour wood, and it's got quite dark sort of bands across it. I can't think what the actual term is, but like the grain in the wood, it's got some quite dark grain across the wood, so that should look quite nice. Now Zebrano wood isn't something I've ever worn before. I don't know exactly what it'll feel like, how light it'll be, that sort of stuff. But it's quite cheap, so that's the main thing. Right now, while I'm learning, I'm more interested in just getting lots and lots of bits of cheap wood, that if I screw up, it doesn't really matter. So I've got 2 very large blocks of that coming, and they should be big enough that I can cut them up and use little bits and bobs for other things as well. I also have a piece of purple heart. Now, purple heartwood is generally considered to be potentially toxic to the skin, so obviously I wouldn't want to be wearing it directly in contact with my lobes for fear of it causing some sort of reaction or some sort of toxins within the wood leaching into my skin and damaging my ears or anything along those lines. So something else I will be practicing as I get a little bit more experienced and I start to know what I'm doing, I will hopefully start experimenting doing little things like inlays. So, for example, I'm pretty sure, again, everyone probably knows what I mean, but for example, I'll create the main solid plug as with the Zebrano wood, for example, and then I'll create smaller discs or whatever shapes of the purple heart, and actually be able to inlay that inside the main disc or inside the main jewellery. So hopefully I'll be able to do little experiments and little things like that, get lots and lots of practice doing things like that, and be able to hopefully make some quite nice jewellery. I've got all sorts of little ideas of stuff I want to try. Oh, before I get too far ahead of myself, the 4th bit of wood I've ordered is actually a piece of pink ivory. And I say pink ivory certainly is, I think it probably is my absolute favourite type of wood. The reason I've bought, and that was a little bit more expensive. Now the reason I've bought that so soon is just something to keep me motivated, and so something to look forward to actually using once I do get a little bit more experience and know what I'm doing. So I'm fairly certain making the absolute most basic stuff is not going to take long at all to pick up. But yeah, so the pink ivory will be something there to, like I say, to keep me motivated and something to look forward to actually using and actually having something really nice to wear. So that'll be really good fun once I actually get that. And so yes, I have plenty of little ideas of things I hope to try as I start to get a little bit better. Obviously initially it'll just be a case of making solid flat plugs basically. So that won't be tricky at all. But I've got lots of little ideas as different shapes and styles and things I want to try. I want to try everything from different types of flares to obviously tunnels and plugs. Tunnels will be a little bit, again, that's not exactly a tricky thing to do, but it'll be a little bit more advanced. So that'll be after I've got a little bit more practice making just solid tunnels. I'll then progress onto solid plugs. I will then progress onto tunnels and things like that. And I've got plenty of ideas as far as different types of wood I would like to try inlaying in each other. For instance, going back to the purple heart, I think the purple heart, because it is quite a deep purpley coloured wood, I think it actually would look really nice being inlaid into something like a dark ebony coloured wood, for example. For instance, ebony can be really dark, almost completely black. So I feel like having a nice purple bit of purple heart inlaid in the middle of that, for example, would really make the purple pop, for example. And I've got all sorts of random little ideas like this that I would like to try and things that I would like to experiment with. Obviously this is all going to be a little bit in the future, as I still need to get the absolute most basics down as yet. So I have zero experience doing this at all, so it's all going to be a brand new learning experience, and entirely possible it'll be something of a learning curve as well. But we'll, yeah, I'm really excited to actually finally be getting on with it. And just seeing where I can go with this. I say initially it is literally just for myself, just making stuff for my own ears, my conchas, my septum, possibly my septum at least. But it is something I have toyed with the fantasy of potentially trying to turn this into a little bit of a side income business at some point, and perhaps starting up a little website and or using Instagram or something, or even something on here to try and like I say, turn it into a small business, perhaps make a little bit of a secondary income or something out of all this. I say I won't be, that isn't something I plan on doing any time particularly soon, just because, like I say, half the reason I want to do this to begin with is to have better quality jewellery at a reasonable price. So I won't be trying to sell these on or anything at any time until I get to a point where I actually feel like I'm making a good product. Like, I've no doubt the first few attempts will probably be awful. But, I mean, you never know. Maybe this will turn out to be my calling or something. I highly doubt it, but you never know. But yeah, so it'll be at least a little while before the business side of it is something I actually really push for. But yeah, it's kind of a nice little fantasy at the moment, thinking something that something that hopefully will make me a little bit more independent again. And hey, who knows, maybe this will even become a full-time career at some point in the future. Like I said, I'm trying really hard not to get too far ahead of myself and to got someone running around out there. Trying not to get too far ahead of myself and make promises that end up taking much longer than I planned. But I say, yeah, for initially it will just be a case of making simple wooden plugs, then hopefully progressing onto tunnels, and then slightly fancier things like I say, the inlays, that type of thing. I mean, I've got plenty of time. It's not like I'm in a rush to do this. It's not like I've got to start doing this immediately and jump right in at the deep end. So I'm still waiting on a few bits and bobs to actually turn up. I have the lathe. Obviously I will need some wood, so I've got to wait for that to turn up as yet. And there's other little bits and bobs I'm waiting on as well before I can actually get started. There's a couple of like safety things, like I want to get some goggles and just like a dust mask or something, just so I'm not constantly breathing in all the dust from the wood. Because breathing that in constantly while you're doing this sort of thing is not going to be good for you. I don't need my lungs coated with wood, so I think anybody can appreciate that. So this is it's not all going to be immediately right away, but hopefully within the next couple of weeks I will have got everything I need and I'll be able to actually get started on it. So it is something I'm really excited about. I'm really looking forward to finally being able to get on with this. And yeah, I don't foresee, at least the basics, I don't foresee it being particularly tricky. I'm pretty confident I'll be able to pick it up fairly quick. Because yeah, my granddad, on my dad's side, he actually used to do this sort of thing himself. He used to make all sorts of random little things. When I was really young, he actually had 3 separate lathes, but after he passed away and we sold his house and whatnot, we actually sold off, or my parents at least actually sold off all the lathes, which is kind of a shame. I kind of wish I would have kept hold of one so I could do this. I probably would have been doing this a long time ago if I actually already had a lathe. But yeah. So I sort of do already understand the very basics, but like I say, it's something I don't excuse me, it's something I don't have any personal hands-on experience with. So that's where I'm going to be needing to get the actual practice in. But yeah, I'm really excited about it all. I'm very curious to see where this leads, if it does become a potential source of income at some point in the future, then that's brilliant. Again, both of my parents actually own their own mini businesses. My mum being a hairdresser, and my dad is a motor mechanic. And yeah, they both work for themselves with their own little mini businesses. So from that side of things, I've got them that I can ask for a little bit of help and a little bit of assistance to getting things started moving. So that's something that'll work in my favour as well. But excuse me. But like I say, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself as yet. Right now, first things first, wait till I've got everything, and yeah, start actually practicing with the woodwork. Yeah, it's something I really am looking forward to finally doing. But yeah, so there's a few bits and bobs. At some point I'm going to have to buy an actual proper workbench, because a lathe is quite a large, hefty piece of machinery, and I don't really have anywhere suitable to put it. I've got a desk that I will use for the time being, but it's not really designed to hold something as heavy as a lathe, so I am going to have to be really careful while I'm still doing that. But again, it's something else I will continue to save up for and invest a little bit more money in. And yeah, it's all, right now at least, it's all looking positive and good things to come. I think things are finally moving. So I do hope to, at the very least, get the hang of wood turning and obviously doing this, making little tunnels and whatnot. And hopefully, say something else I do consider for slightly further down the line is learning to use other materials as well. There's other things like, got a little parsnip, she's turned up. Can I come and say hello, madam? Nope, just gonna sit there and stare. Okay. Other materials like things like bone or antler, even things like Delrin and PTFE are a potential possibility for the future. Those are all things I can mess about with and experiment with as time goes. So yeah, I am really looking forward to actually finally getting this going. As I keep saying, I really am genuinely looking forward to finally getting on top of this and actually starting it. So as far as videos for it go, I like the idea of just documenting my progress with this as well. Whether or not that's something I would keep on this channel, I don't see why I wouldn't, but there's the possibility of making a separate channel or something like that for this. I'll certainly at least start off posting the videos on this channel, and then if it becomes something I do a lot of and I end up making lots of videos about this subject perhaps, maybe I'll then think about moving it onto its own channel. But again, that's all stuff way in the future to think about much further down the line. But yeah, I will, for the time being, I will post a couple more videos about it on here as things turn up and as things start to get going. And yeah, I really do look forward to seeing where this takes me. If it does become, like I say, if it does become a potential secondary income source or something, then that would be absolutely fantastic. So, and here's a little parsnip. Good girl. Say hello. Yeah, that would be absolutely fantastic if that were to happen. But yes, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself right now. Taking it one step at a time, seeing what I can learn, seeing how well I pick it up, how many little different things I need to improve on before I were to start offering them as an actual product. But yeah, really looking forward to it. I'm super excited about it all. Like, I'm more excited about it than I thought I would be. I mean, I've been looking forward to it for so long anyway, because I knew this was coming eventually, but yeah, now it's actually here and it's actually happening. I'm more excited about it than I even thought I would be. So yeah. Sorry that, again, I think this has been another bit of a long, rambly, waffly video. But yeah, I will call it quits here. Thank you again for anybody that has watched all the way through. And yeah, I will see you again soon, either for another piercing video or potentially another lathe related video or something. And yeah, hopefully, again, this is a bit of a departure from my normal sort of videos, so hopefully people found it interesting. Please let me know down below if it is something you find interesting and it's something you'd like to follow along with. And in that case, I will put more effort into certainly making videos about this. And yeah, so either way, I'm going to be making at least some videos about it. But how much of my channel will be about this depends on, I guess, how well videos like about the actual process are received, I guess. But yeah, we'll see. Like I say, it's all stuff to see as we get going, so it's all good. We'll anyway, yes, before I waffle on anymore, I will say goodbye, and I will, yeah, probably speak to you all again quite soon. So I've got plenty more videos in the pipeline, a few more already recorded. So yeah, all fun and games. Speak to you all again soon. Ta-ra for now.